Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, May 16th, 2 days before my birthday. Exciting, exciting. We will be having You Make Us Want to Shout this evening, 5 p.m. Eastern. Tune in for that. Go over, check out ggc.leecraft.com. We have a review of elobuff.com, and Zero Cardinality just put up his uh, guides for the weekly free rotation of championships. No, the guide to free champions for this rotation. That's closer. That's closer. That's what we'll go with. Oh my goodness. And incidentally, our uh, our topic of the day, our chat of the day, our wake up rundown of this morning is about free championship rotations, free champion rotations, not championship. Free champion rotations and their use in ranked. Apparently, as of May 22nd, you will not be able to use champions you don't own in ranked. This was posted by Yeg yesterday. Some interesting statistics that they posted. If a player on your team is fielding a champion he doesn't own, you're 8% more likely to lose a game. That is pretty ridiculous. Like, just right off the bat, say you go into matchmaking and it's like, okay, we want to make 50-50 chances of each team winning. And then suddenly someone on your team is like, I'm going to play a new champion. You are now at a 42% chance of winning, or something along those lines. So that is just ridiculous. 62% more likely to leave a game, 34% more likely to result in a player being reported. Those are interesting stats, but it's like hard to really glean that much information off of them. But really, the 8% more likely to lose a game is huge. I'm just wondering, like, this has been asked for forever, and I always thought it was a great idea. I didn't really think there were any counterpoints to it. A lot of people were like, oh, I'm sure it doesn't make that big a difference. But I mean, it clearly did. If you don't play a champion, if you don't own a champion, you're probably not going to win with said champion. Um, so these stats, I mean, that is a really big stat. 8% more likely to lose a game. I'm just surprised that Riot really didn't call this to attention ahead of time. Now, later on in this post, they also talk about not allowing new champions into ranked for the first little bit. They're saying this is on the table and whether they should restrict them for ranked for some period of time as well. Now, what they were saying is later on, and I think maybe we just get to it here. Newly released champions are usually not a problem if they're played in ranked same day of release. Well, I can explain this to Riot. The reason why new champions aren't an issue, even though I think they are, is one, people don't know how to play against them, but mainly two, most champions are released in an overpowered sort of state. Now, Varus I don't really feel is overpowered, but he's pretty straightforward. He's just like any other attack damage carry, but he does have, a little bit of extra utility added into his kit, a little bit of extra damage. But when it comes to late game, his whole concept is the same. Buy Infinity Edge, buy Phantom Dancer, buy Last Whisper, do a lot of damage with auto attacks. You also get to, put some skills down. You have a nice ultimate, but there's nothing like game breaking or really awe-inspiring or anything really new about him. So certainly it's not too surprising that people do okay with him, but mainly like when we're talking about past champions like Riven, like Nautilus, like Fizz, like Lulu, like all these champions were released in an overpowered state. There's still a lot of them still are in an overpowered state, and that's probably why you don't see them lose too incredibly much in range for the first couple of weeks. But that doesn't mean that they should be allowed to be played. I mean, I think there should be like essentially a 1 or 2 day grace period for new champions. Like, everyone who's really excited about the new champion, let them be really excited in normal games. Let them get, that excitement out while they're, having fun, being in casual play, so on and so forth. Don't let them come into ranks, because I've had that basically every single champ, the new, every time it rolls out. Now, with Varus, luckily I didn't get hit bad. Like, every time he was on my team, I lost, but every time he was on the other team, I won. So I wasn't too upset about that. Like when Ziggs came out, it was like I got like 5 free losses, and somehow like the other team when they had Ziggs, they were like doing amazing. Rather, my team just didn't know how to play against them. So yeah, I mean it is a double-edged sword, but I just think like, hey, let's just cut all of this out. And what Riot really needs to do is like, hey, you're looking at these metrics, look to see what happens when someone randoms a champion. generally, when a person randoms a champion, it means either one of two things happen. They were AFK, most likely, or two, they were like really indecisive about what to pick and completely forgot to pick. Um, I always feel like, hey, if you random a champion, you should just be booted out. Like, if you were AFK during Champion Select, you should just be kicked out of Champion Select, take your elo loss, have the game, everyone go back into queue. But I would really like to see the numbers. Like, what is the increased chance of losing if someone on your team randoms? Because I have to figure it's got to be, around an 8% bonus or 8% increased chance of losing. Maybe not quite that high. Maybe it's only 5%. But even if it's a 5% extra chance of losing if someone randoms, that's huge. That is really, really big in the grand scheme of things. So I don't know. I guess I'll post in this thread and see if they're thinking about that. But we shall see. We shall see. Certainly, if nothing else, even until May 22nd, don't play free-to-play champions if you're going into a serious ranked game or just a serious game in general. So that is the wake-up rundown for this morning. Like I said, stay tuned, 5 p.m. Eastern. You make us want to shout. Get in some of those games. I think we'll just announce the game name and password over the stream. I think that's the best way to do it. And besides that, have a good day. Hopefully we'll get some wins.